Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm also trying to do something complete myself. It's not.
For a while, the library itself was closed. I mean, you know, they weren't letting anybody around, so.
Well, not even with the
Now they would close, and they had sent everybody emails that said, you know, if you've got books checked out, they've already pretty much they've extended it to.
yeah.
And then after a little while, you got an email that said, okay, we're not even going to charge fees anymore. Just bring the book back when you.
Yeah, that's what I got too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There would be day for some findings.
Yeah. So they during that time though, both the Middletown Library and this library, like they tore some stuff out and they rearranged and they did some upgrades and whatever. So I don't think they were completely down. It's just they weren't letting people in. And then I don't know, month or so, 2 months into it, 3 months into it, they started doing like the bookmobile thing where they would take limited books to people or whatever. Oh,
Let the grand poobah.
I gotta let you in. Hey, Art.
And turn on the sharing.
Yeah, just sharing's on.
Oh, good. Whoa, you're in it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, you got your smiley Amazon box in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they're convenient boxes. They're good boxes and I store stuff in them. So, you know,
Says you're joining. It doesn't say. It doesn't say you're here. It just says you're joining.
Yeah, but we went shopping, got some boarding. So they're ready for the time. And then we'll get, a good one can find it. Something like that. Oh, yeah, we're still staying, we finished now. And I had a little project where I put my blower on my, that was fireplace. It's a heat room. So when the thermostat controller is running off. And it's like, okay, now we're going to solder today.
How it is.
And but she was all scared. And she heard her brother talk about HVAC. So he saw her in pipe. Yeah. Oh, like that. He's going, oh, that's a big joke. I don't know. You know, and then little thing here. We put that under the, I wish you got flavor.
Chrome has a text to speech name. And it's pretty nice.
That's true.
Yeah, if you're reading in text moves, you can say, click the text to speech button down at the bottom. And then kind of like the area you want, and boom, as soon as you let go, it starts talking. Yeah, I like that.
What do you use that? I mean,
Right.
my car does that. If I get a text message while I'm driving, it'll say, you want to hear it, I didn't hear it, and it does that. I can see it in the car. What do you use it for at home?
Well, what I've found is that I learn better if you, some of my classes, maybe after your classes, I converted all my books to view on the screen. And now they were viewing it on the screen, I read it to them and it would follow the words. My comprehension for Audible is much higher and it makes me less tired to listen to something. So I love it. In fact, I do audiobooks. Notice I know my audiobooks. There's a reason audiobooks are much easier for me. Comprehension is better.
Not time for, less visual.
Yeah, well, math times, yeah. When I go to sleep at night, I'm listening to an audiobook with a timer set to 1 hour. Okay.
So how do you access it through your Chromebook? I mean, is it an app?
All I know is you select it, you go in the Chrome and you say text to speech, yes. And the little black thing down, pops up down the bottom of the screen. I'm still connecting, yeah.
Yeah, you're not even there anymore.
Hmm.
You've given up. So try to connect again.
This is connected. It may be loading the software because this is the first time I used this PC. I spent big bucks for my new Chromebook. $58.
That's big bucks.
Yeah.
Basically,
What?
you go out of turn, but you remember last year, I had brought a router
Yeah.
and, wasn't even open, so I installed it this week
Yeah.
and it works.
They're pretty numb these days.
Well, I was proud of myself because their old router it was all set up the way I wanted. And it had a name and password and, 50 character self-generated. Well, I didn't want to go through every device that's hooked up and reset the damn password. So I ended up naming the new router the same as the old one and gave it the same password. But then it was kind of tricky to make sure they weren't both turned on at the same time. And when I set it up, I unplugged this one, plugged this one, didn't even hit. It was just like it was still the same old one. But the problem is, it's not a problem. You talk about a $58 computer. I've noticed now I can see what devices are connected and the speed. And I'm getting like 200 megabytes on my phone. If I do the speed test on the phone and the Roku, but my laptop is still 50.
Okay. Your laptop's got a couple.
It's an old Wi-Fi card, I guess.
Yeah, probably is.
That was the reason I wanted to increase my this.
It's pretty good speed though, really.
That's what, So I got about 50 on the computers and 200 on the junk stuff.
So what brand of laptop is it?
It's a Lenovo Chromebook.
No.
It is top of the line in the economy category. And it's got a ding on the front of it right here. Okay, which is okay. That's why I got it. And look at it though. It's just, it's like new. I don't know. It's a Chromebook. It's a Chromebook. Yeah.
And does it have a hard drive?
It may have 16 gig or 32 gig. It's got a place for an SD thing.
So it's kind of like you're hooked up to the internet, basically.
Yeah, you're hooked to your. The intent was for you to use the cloud.
Oh, right. Well, I tried that out.
Sure, and that's why I use it while I'm here. It's fine. I don't need access to all my junk here.
I think Art wanted to know what your laptop was, your old laptop.
Oh, it's an Asus. No, it's an HP. I'm not sure what the model is. It was a low end. I only paid like $400.
I'm gonna have to kill reboot. This is like Microsoft, man.
Well, you realize that you can swap out the Wi-Fi card.
Yes. Maybe maybe what I look into next.
Because the Wi-Fi card will cost you less than $30 probably, and you can swap it out for one that is faster, and also one which is both channels, 2.4 gig and 5 gig.
Okay.
That would be a pretty good investment, and it's easy to replace them. And matter of fact, with HPs, a lot of times they have a panel on the back side that you just remove the panel, the card unplugs, and you plug another one in.
It's not solid right next to the motherboard?
No, I think it's socket.
Oh, I like that.
I'm muted.
Nope.
It's not getting through.
You're a little fuzzy there, Jim.
Turn your volume down.
But it's muted. Come on, people. What's that shirt, or is that a Metallica shirt?
Pardon? No, this is a shirt where I was judging a collegiate robotics contest in 2006
Oh, okay.
at San Jose City College.
Colorful.
What kind of robots did you judge? What did they do?
It was one of these contests where they were essentially battle bots playing a game of basketball. So they had a basketball court with hoops at both ends. And they had these kind of like Nerf balls. And the idea was same as basketball, get it through the hoop more often than your
1,800.
than your opponent.
I like it.
Yeah, it was a
Oh, cool.
pretty good turnout.
You hear it?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not real loud, but
Yeah, I have a book reader.
that is an antique book reader from
Oh,
10, 15 years ago. We were talking about the Amazon book readers being able to read. Start a. The only with this one
Are the
is
voices changeable?
no, that's one problem with this one. The other problem is once it gets to the end of the page, it doesn't automatically flip and keep reading. But it'll do it. Now I gotta remember how to turn this stupid thing off. Oh, and the other problem with this one is it only really likes ebooks. EPUBs. It likes EPUBs and some Mobies and a few PDFs. Anything else it just goes no. So
it can't read the Amazon ebook.
no, when I tried the Amazon ebook one, it just told me that it didn't know what to do with it. And it doesn't know what to do with, it's a color display and it's an LCD, and I mean it's old, but it's cool. It works. But it has its problems. It's just me and Jim were talking about ebook readers last week, and I remembered I had this one sitting around going, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure this one will read the book. We were talking about text to speech a few minutes ago, so,
Oh, yeah.
so there it is.
We're glad to hear it. Text is highlighted.
So text is highlighted.
Yeah, to make it read it, let's see, what you do is you go down here to the bottom. Now you can't see it on the screen, and you click that.
But we can't see.
But you can't see, can you see the highlighting? Yeah, it's highlighting that. And I got it muted now, so. So you don't get the idea. Anyhow, let's get back to my agenda to get this out of the way. Thursdays, next week is not a second, is it the second Wednesday?
Next week is the second Wednesday, yes.
It's a virtual next week. Okay.
And
So next Thursday is the second Wednesday?
next Thursday is the second Wednesday. Yes, that's what I thought I heard.
So it should be Thursday, if we meet, it should be Thursdays after next week. Till next year, and then next year will be Thursday, we're looking at Thursday.
We're on Wednesdays until the first, and then we're back to Thursdays.
Yeah.
And everybody on my side of things is completely thrilled about that.
Okay, so Chrome, does support, looks like they do support text to speech. I hadn't put it on my Windows thing yet. I think it'll automatically propagate, because Chrome propagates the settings to everybody, wherever you log in. We'll see if it propagates that. Overdrive books. I was going to tell you last week about the Linux books, so I went before we came in today and I looked up some of the Linux books in Overdrive. These are magazines. There are magazines available, tons of magazines available via Overdrive. And let's see, I wanted to do let me have to come in. Oh, let's see. I can start up here, probably the best thing to do. I'll do AT Club and do agenda. Boom. I was already there. Oh, no, I didn't want to do agenda. I wanted to do the books. Latest audio books. That's going to be magazines. So all these, I found tons of Linux books, tons of programming books, and quite a few Raspberry Pi. There's Python. Okay, that's a magazine. But some of these are the annual edition. It has a bunch of stuff in it. There's Python and C++. Here's a Raspberry Pi. And there's a Linux book, Linux coding and programming, the complete manual. That's in the magazine section. Here's another Python. Here's a Raspberry Pi. And text tube, there's a Linux, another Linux. Another Linux, that's probably maybe the same one. There's CQ magazine for hams. This is for Leroy's granddaughter, Minecraft. Yeah. And there's Raspberry for kids. That could be for her too. Raspberry kids. Raspberry Pi 21 Brilliant projects. We're brilliant. Well, some of them are. And Bluetooth. And then we'll go back to Reddit. Okay. And meanwhile, let me go back to my. I got to go this way. Agenda.
I think it would be a little challenging for an audience to read a magazine about Unix.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I my book, Industrial Maintenance Technology book, was about that thick.
Okay.
I scanned every.
Oh.
And as they were reading it to the guys, they were going through it word by word. They could see it and they could hear it. So that is very effective.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Some books can't be just read, yeah. Okay. Science fiction. I've gone to LibreBox, which is audiobooks, open source that are more than 40 years old or whatever. And I've got science fiction short stories I've downloaded. And since you put it on the cloud and Google Drive, you can take your phone and read it on your phone. And so I've listen to it on your phone. So I've taken to doing that. There's some idiosyncrasies, but it works. So now if you go to this link, Who's Fix, that's a bunch of audiobooks, short stories, sci-fi short stories. Some of them are pretty good. And also there's a subdirectory, you got 50 more in the subdirectory. So if you want to listen to short stories, boom, click on that. And I think if people get into that, we could pick them and people could throw them in there and watch. These are all public domain. European TV news, I've kind of watched that a little bit since the Ukraine. You get better news and get better news about the US too, it seems. Where you get the feed for that. They're over the internet over the internet. And we'll go through Cloud TV is available over the internet and through Roku or directly over the internet. They have France 24, which is surprisingly unbiased, and Euronews, which Euronews is starting to appear everywhere, and it's pretty good too. France 24 is in English. Yeah, they also have a Spanish version. France 24. That was surprising. Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good most of the time, unless there's a soccer game going on or one of their actors died. You don't watch France 24, when their actors died. Also, let's see, you got Reuters, which I found out they're pretty biased from what I saw in Roku. Pluto also has Sky, which is British. Pluto is free. You can get it on the internet, and you can get it on Roku, and just probably whatever you got, you can get Pluto. It's everywhere. They have Windows. Just go to Pluto.
There used to be a Chrome app, an actual Chrome app for it. I don't know if they still have it or not.
And here's a Roku, and there's an app on Roku called News Local, which you can get Euro news on it. Tells you can get it almost anywhere. It's channel 535 and UK news on channel 537. I haven't watched that one yet. And number 7, my last item is how to set link devices for real-linked IoT devices below. It turns out my cameras don't go to just any IoT device. Okay, like I wanted to turn on the spotlight. They don't do that as far as I can tell. But Reolink sell a spotlight and siren that acts like a camera. You set it up just like you would a camera, and you can talk to it, and it can talk to you. It has a PIR on it. There's a PIR and a spotlight and a siren. So that you can link to it. There, Steve. And I've got some instructions in this agenda thing. This agenda thing I'm gonna do every week. And if Leroy wants one, that'd be neat for him too. And so let's see. But we're just saying I found it in the magazines. I talked to you guys about the magazines available over Outlook or Overdrive here. They got tons of them, man. Tons of them. Programming, reference books for Linux, and you as a subcontractor, what I consider you a subcontractor, you should be spending 40% of your time educating yourself. Are you there yet? Yeah, I mean, but as a contractor, you should do that, improving yourself 40% of your time.
I don't know that I'm a contractor, but last year we're pushing us to get educational hours, and I think I got about 60. So that's some. That's good.
So let me show the books one time when I get out of here. I am conscious about how much time I use here. I try to keep my time as low as possible, not as long as possible as some instructors have a tendency to do. Yeah, we drag it out as long as we can because then they break. No, there's Linux, notebook, there's Python, C++, Raspberry Pi, Linux, Python, Raspberry Pi Tech Schools, just all kinds of stuff. CQ magazine for hands, Minecraft, ASCII. There's I turn on Radiant projects, Ubuntu, and that's what I tortured them with before we should. This moved pretty good. I was sweating, you know. Okay, Leroy, I'm done.
Okay. I don't know anything. I'm just here.
You got the speech to text thing. Wow.
We didn't do a demo. Does it all work?
Well, I have to turn my audio off. It's that thing.
Let's see.
But you just say you click the little back thing at the bottom of the speaker. You click that and then you mark something.
Did you get it on your phone?
I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if it's available on my phone. I'll see that, but this is the Chrome browser. There is a Chrome browser on here, but I don't know if they would include that there. But the audiobooks are really easy to read through your phone. It's a piece of cake. And I'm getting to where I know how to find them and follow the chapters. So that's one thing good about the cloud is I can just copy those over to the cloud and say, offer this to everyone with a link. Boom, it's done. And you can click on the link in the meeting. That's free. Oh, okay.
Oh, this is not the same thing. I bet. Free trial. I'm not signing up for a free trial.
Hey, Jim,
Yeah,
I think that cable that is sitting in front of your camera is confusing the focus because it's trying to focus on the cable and everything else is fuzzy then.
we couldn't have that. Particularly means looking legal. We gotta have him fully in focus.
That was probably my fault anyway. I put the microphone out in front.
With the microphone cable
Yeah. Didn't think about it.
is much better now.
Let's talk about the Pepsi fund. The vice president of the fund is that in lieu of a reduction in salary?
Actually, it's on top of his bonus.
Oh,
Okay. Now I should be able to go way back.
Actually, that's good.
Oh, that's okay. And Where did you go?
Probably the right with, you know.
There it is.
With rubber protection on the corner of the main body, the FT5DR has rugged and shock-resistant construction. The waterproof rating is IPX7. The comfortable size and form of the full flat back body provides excellent grasp.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Definitely loud.
How did you get the spot?
Oh, I only selected so much. I don't know. I don't think it read the whole thing. I don't think it read the whole thing. Maybe it just read the first paragraph.
Yeah.
A high-resolution display highlights the frequency of the operational band. The color of the operating band frequency can be selected from white, blue, or red. 3 touch panel key. 7 operation key.
So I think it stopped. I think it stopped before it read the whole thing anyway. I don't know. You didn't have to add an extension.
No,
It just was there.
there was an option. You went in to set up and select it. I said, what? What's this?
So they've automatically added the extension. I don't really have anything. Do you have anything?
Well, you know, I installed my browser. And I took back the hardware just an hour before I came to the meeting. And of course, it raised my price and turned into running hardware. But I've spent the early part of the week, and then I'm still interested in the 3D printing stuff. So I found another project, a little business called Homework for my wife's stuff that you guys. So I wanted to learn how to program, do more design work in FreeCAD. So I was playing around with FreeCAD and learning, doing some of the tutorials on. Turns out that these STL files, it's kind of like after you build the model and all the intelligence of the model, you export the STL file. It's just the surface of that thing, which is all the printer needs. So if you import that STL file into a CAD program, there's no intelligence there. It's just a surface, and you can't do anything with it. No. So there's a little button in there. It's called reverse engineer. And then it basically pops up a ruler, so I can click on points. If I turn it into a wireframe, I can get the dimensions of what it was. So I basically have to start from scratch there. But at least the design is, yeah. I just have to redesign it or rebuild the part manually and make the changes I want to make to it. So, it's a learning process, but I like that. I like that package. Seems to be pretty powerful and that freeware. It is. Okay. Nothing but the best. Right?
There are some CAD packages that let you play with STL, but they don't tend to.
Oh, okay. You can that.
Well,
Some of that
you can,
really better.
yeah, you can take the STL and make it as an object, and then you can add to it or subtract from it.
Right.
Yeah, I played with FreeCAD and I just don't get it.
Yeah.
One that I really like is OpenSCAD. It lets you, you define a sphere and then you subtract a cube from it. It has a few primitives and then operations with the really neat. You can put 4 cylinders down and draw a hall around it. And you've now got a thing with rounded corners, a centimeter thick. Whatever. And it is. Once you figure out how it works, that's the way. That's the yeah.
There's another. Get what the file extension is, but it's another type of 3D file that I ran across, and OpenSCAD was the only one that.
Oh, really?
Well, it was the only free one that would read it. Everything else they wanted like a fortune to do it. And it's a solid model. It makes solid models instead of, an STL open kind of file. But the really cool thing was once you had that model, you could expand it out and subtract out the stuff that you didn't need. Like the original model, it was for a LCD screen. So it was a case for the LCD screen, but when they modeled it, they actually put the LCD screen in it to make sure that it would fit. So when you print it printed out as a solid block, and it's like, oh, this is not good. So using SCAD, expanded it out, and went, I don't want that anymore, and deleted that, and there was a battery in there, and there was some other stuff on it. I don't want that, and that, and that, and then shoved it all back together and told it to export it as an STL, and that worked great, and printed really nice. But I don't remember what those were. They were, I mean, the 3D, the slicer could read those files, but SCAD was the only one the only free package I found that would actually let you work with them or do something with them.
I don't have a lot of experience with model building. No matter where I start, it's going to be a learning curve. It's big, man.
The manufacturer of this LCD panel said, "Oh, we'll provide you a 3D printable file," and that's they provided one, but that's what they provided. I was like, "Oh, this is not what we need." It's solid. It's a solid block.
You make sense?
Mm,
You read those.
I want to say it started with an S, but
Things that can use for
SolidWorks maybe.
STL, OFF, AMF, 3MF, DXF, XVG, and then that's natively, and then there's a module that you can add that makes it able to import other things.
I don't know. I don't know what it was. It wasn't an SVG. It was. It's actually four letters. The extension was a 4 letters extension. And I'm pretty sure it started with S.
Interesting. It can read PNG files with colors converted to grayscale and grayscale determining altitude.
Oh, so you can make like a lithograph.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. My slicer will do that. Only I think it does it with JPEGs.
The first thing that were designed in OpenSCAD for Raspberry Pi, so that I can subtract it from other things. Well, because you can import a file and then remove it from another file.
The other question
how much can you spend? These guys were very,
Oh, that's,
not me. These guys.
that's a neat thing to have. Get the Raspberry Pi, you wanted to look nice. They just relatively dust-free person uses the plastic tank to put it in, they point out further, you got the camera with it. It's just too cool. I like it. If you want to have one with a camera or something like that. Well, then just need to get a 3D printer of your own. You know, how much time it is. We got it from attitude. I'm going to read the points. You have to dust it off.
I have more than one. That's chronically underused. Yeah. That's why I said, I mean, if you want something printed, there's printers around.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't mind coming down either. It's a nice facility.
What do you need?
You got anything new, Steve?
Excuse me, nothing really. Brought a couple of batteries from work. You get first dibs on if you want them. This is out of a HP RAID array controller. It read as bad. And HP sent another one and you plugged it in.
And it read as bad.
Rebooted it. It said that the RAID controller card is bad.
Okay,
I have every suspicion that this is fine. And this is off of another RAID controller. That is considerably older. I have no idea what its condition is. But that wasn't what I intended.
I had a battery side story. Did you mention battery? This is for cars. A cell phone and it's got a 2020 Chrysler Pacific.
You can't push it.
No, and it's got that damn start stop. If you come to the stop sign,
Oh,
and so on. We have a 2019, and that's the first thing I would do is turn it, but you have to push it. He apparently uses his or forgets to push the button. And anyway, those bands have a large 12-volt battery, standard, and a small little 12-volt battery. It's like a lawnmower size, just for the start stop. Yeah. Got over the problems. Well, that stupid start stop thing drained or failed his auxiliary battery. And it drained the main battery too. So now he's got two dead batteries, doesn't really know which one. So long story short, he took it to AutoZone. Apparently, either they're in such high demand or the production supply chain is not up to curve, but you can't buy these at like AutoZone or O'Reilly's.
Yeah.
You can only get them at Chrysler now. And $160, which is a little thing, but he was out. And it turned out that's what he went to Batteries Plus. They had one, it was about the right size, but the terminal connectors are kind of proprietary Chrysler, and then he would have had to cut and snip it. Anyway, yeah, so beware about your battery now.
Prevent me from buying a Chrysler at this point.
Oh, well, I got it on the Forbes too. I Chevy. The other thing I forgot to say was you would think, you could say, well, just unplug that little guy and just run it off the main battery. Computer said, no, I'm not gonna let you do it.
I'm really curious with the little one for the starter. I would think that to run the computer and stuff while it shut down.
Yeah, you would think so. I don't know. He had enough juice though. They were both dead.
Yeah.
And he said, well, should I try to charge the one? And he tried charging the small one and it started buzzing. And he took it out and the guy at the AutoZone told him, oh, when they start buzzing, that's about when it explodes. So that's when it's not there, yeah. So anyway, but then the guy said, well, I can't really test the big one because it's doesn't have enough juice in it to test it. Probably would, but. So anyway, he took it home and I said, well, if works come to worse, you can jump it and just let it run for half an hour. Well, he put it in with dead main battery and the small auxiliary started right out. So there was enough juice in that little one that started. Yeah,
Does his car shut off at red lights?
yeah.
That's what that is. That auxiliary battery is a starter battery. I hate those designs. I absolutely hate them, but
You know, I don't.
I've had
know how
to-
that can start the car if it's cold.
I've had to jump a couple of people at the apartment complex. And the main battery is like under the back seat, in like an impossible spot to get to. And there's two teeny tiny terminals that you're supposed to be able to hook your jumper cables to. And it's almost impossible to hook your jumper cables to these teeny little terminals.
To your point, it doesn't have to start when it's cold, but I think it's on the negative terminal of the main valve, there's a voltage sensor. And if the car hasn't been run or if that sensor senses that there's low voltage, it disables the start stop.
Yeah, okay.
So, I think the car has to be warm. The AC has to be not running, it does some logic. So it wouldn't have to test it on the worst case or start it at the worst case.
I think computers are the best thing to happen to cars and the worst thing to do with a car.
I agree.
I mean, it is so cool to me that you can sit down in the passenger seat, stick in the key and start a car pretty much no matter what. You don't have to remember, no, it's cold out, so I got to come for the gas forward. That is nice. But yeah, when they break, they are totally great. I truly miss my little trying to Spitfire. Sit down on the wheel and there's the engine. It's easy to work on.
I've like I've said, I've jumped several Chryslers and they're a pain in the butt now.
Yeah, I went out and bought the expensive set of jumper cables that have inline voltmeter. And that's kind of neat. We took it up to the car that needs the jump. And it tells you if you've got backwards, it tells you what the voltage on their battery is. It has a beeper if it's so low that it's probable that it just has a bunch of shorted cells. It's a neat set of jumper cables. I mean, also the size of my thumb. They're rated for 1200 amps.
That's right there, yeah.
And how expensive was the set of jumper cables?
That's $70.
That's not horrible.
They've got the, I don't remember what the supplement is called, but they're at one point, they were probably military. They've got the big forklift connector on them. And military vehicles, you could just plug them in. So one end comes off. They're not.
I tried to add one of those connectors to my battery and
Takes a lot of heat starter those.
well, what I bought, it was a kit. It was supposed it was a kit that was supposed to have all the parts that you needed to do this. And the connector was about that long. So there was no way that is going to fit in connect to the battery and fit into the grill where it belongs, because the lead. And then, of course, it said, don't solder or anything, or do whatever. And I'm like, okay, because it's going to take a lot of amps or whatever to do with this. I'm like, well, why is it so short? Why didn't you give me a decent sized cable that I could have cut off if it was too long? But it's sitting on top of the battery now. So, I mean, I still have to open the hood and plug in, and
Yeah.
that's not what I wanted to do. I just wanted to go plug it in, like the tow trucks. You got anything?
Nothing.
Nada.
Nothing. You want to drive this one? Good up today. I did, yeah. It's 50 degrees outside.
You got anything, Vicente?
I think. Well, maybe something that, you know, what it is, invisible Christmas tree.
An invisible Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Have you-
This is made with this, a disc in the ceiling with a lot of fishing lines, and each ball is in the air at different distances, creating the tree shape, you know.
Okay.
So my daughter is working on that. I was helping.
So what's this? Is that your template?
I was using this 5-box drill from China. Very nice and very cheap.
Good.
It uses a
Oh, wow.
rechargeable battery. You see? Really nice. It's like a Dremel, but it's very nice.
Okay, then it's real.
Where is the mic here? Oh, that's what it is.
Hello?
Hello. Hello.
Fine, I'm on a Zoom session.
I was talking on the phone.
Okay. Hi, Art.
So how do you hold it? I mean, is there a pole in the center of this tree?
Excuse me?
Is there a pole that goes up the center of the tree, or?
The center of the tree is a
How
star.
are you holding the top of the tree up?
Yeah, you do in the center. You put a star, and then go down and using different lines outward and going down, creating different levels with balls of different colors.
Is it suspended from the ceiling or
In
what?
the ceiling, yes.
Oh, okay.
I am using a double face tape, and you push in the ceiling. It's very light.
Cool.
So
You-
we was in Michael's and in Walmart looking for the tiny balls, different sizes, to design the tree. So
Cool.
my daughter is now working on it.
You got anything, Art? Is Art back?
Uh,
Can you hear us, Art? Art can't hear us, I don't think.
He unmuted it since he came back.
Well, that's the microphone now.
Yeah.
Sound went off. Oh, he disappeared. Okay.
Picture went on.
Picture's gone. He'll be back. He's. Ah. Maybe.
I do have a battery problem. My robo mode. I put him in the garage. And it took the charging head and the power supply, was in the garage, getting out of the cold weather. I plug him in there, figuring they'll keep his battery charged up. So we got this warm spell last weekend. I took it back outside, plug it in, dead as a door. Nothing. So I don't know if that little bit of cold it got exposed to killed him, because it's running on light bulbs. But I haven't put a meter on it. See, just what's going on, but might have to do some surgery this winter. I
Yeah,
had to buy a new one, I'll just pop it open. And see what's going on.
I know there's some 18650 stuff.
I think it was set of battery that can have.
Probably only 20 cents.
Really?
Yeah.
I think a lot. Okay.
Oh. I'm under a quarter acre.
Okay.
I could have taken around here over around.
I've been thinking I want to get under. The ones I like are more expensive than I can pay. The ones I can afford just don't look like they work very well. Maybe next year. Any recommendations?
Can you hear us now, Art?
They think it's so smart now. Mine's dumb. They do. Bumps. The heat and goes around and avoids things around the perimeter line. But like we're talking the other week, and they got them now, like the windows. They'll sit there and map out your yard. And remember that path and be efficient. So, yeah, just talk to $2,500 or.
Yeah.
Well, I know. There are some guys out there with there's Arduino. The guy has all the files and depending on what level you want to do, or what you want to add.
Art, can you hear us?
And it's really for me, one body. If you want to put GPS on it, you can add that on it and we'll show software. Yeah, since German based. They also have houses. We can print the whole thing or by, by wheels and things. I've seen a couple where guys are buying bottom end mowers and then it's got them. Yeah, all I know is the bumpers and the wheels and the body. And then force the car out. Running them on there for the pies and. Put the GPS in. Yeah. I know what you're saying. Maybe it's.
Yep. Yeah,
I got mine on 30.
yeah, the robot that the lawn bot that I had, I found on Craigslist. But I did drive to Tennessee. I drove to Westchester to get it. $50.
Ooh,
It was a deal.
yeah.
And the guy had listed it like 6 times and it finally came down to like $50. And I said, yeah, I'll take it.
Nobody was on there.
Nobody wanted it. And he finally hit a price. I went, yeah, it's cheap enough that I'll go and play with it.
I was going to my neighborhoods, Husqvarna. And I was talking to the guy and he said, oh, I'm selling my house and the lawnmower is staying here because these rooms are big farmers because I got no use for it. And the people that bought his house have small children in the yard full of boys. So they go, I'm not going to use it. So I was thinking of approaching him and going, see, you haven't used this in a year. You know, I'll take it off your hand. The battery's probably shot on it.
Yeah, that was kind of the story that I got with the one that I had. The guy had rental property and it got left. And apparently the renter of the rental property owed him money. So he thought that the lawnmower was going to be worth something and it really turned out not to be worth much of anything. But he was happy to get rid of it. He had a big farm. He had a huge farm. And I was like, you didn't use this on this farm, did you? And he said, no, it wouldn't do well. He explained the whole rental property thing.
Yeah.
So he didn't really care what he got out of it. He just wanted to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You never know. 10, 15 years ago, there was a couple of auctions in Middletown that had them. And they needed batteries. They weren't cheap enough, but I just wasn't willing to put any time into them, you know. So you could definitely find them.
I got trouble with SD chips. They're not staying communicatable on some of my cameras. With specific camera, and I've started the database now, which ones I have to reformat. And I run for a day or whatever, and then wait in the morning. I won't save them those ones.
I had several projects with the Raspberry Pi. And the default is an SD card.
Yeah,
And if you do a lot of reading and writing, those things don't last a lot. So I've replaced them all with USB thumb drives. And operating system and all rewrite and basically ditch the SD card on all of them.
well, some of them, about 60% of them are perfect. And I put them in and walk away, and the next time they're fine. And these reuse the space on it.
Right.
And they're fine, but some of them are specific cameras where they're blowing up, and I got some premium SD cards, but I'm playing with it. I'm sure what it is. I'm about to go back to real length on my full power and I think just. And one thing's happening with the full power and I'm hitting it pretty hard. I'm running 5-6 frames per second, all of them on demand. I'm wondering with the high speed, maybe 1,000 trips.
So it's gathering data now.
Yeah. I got the last time I formatted and then pitch now, so I just. Pitch now, but, you know, I was surprised that there are just a few of them there that way. I'll try try different SD cards and different things, try the bad SD card and another camera, see if that is some problem. I know there were people talking about the temperature, the low temperature limit on the standard range is not low. But they said, like last year, they changed the spec on it, and the newer ones should have a much lower temperature. I know some talking about the solar cell, same thing when the temperature gets low. Solar cells don't work.
I think the SD card, I like to keep the low temperature. I really fast.
When I was over the E1 Pro camera, I spent about an hour yesterday trying to load the E1 Pro, and it wouldn't load. Well, finally, I had to go to 5 to 2 gigahertz, the preload, no amount, which I determined that the power supply, the new power supply, it was marked, not dead. We wouldn't look at that. I thought doing another one, and that camera stopped working. But okay, I got it.
You got anything for us, Art?
Yeah, my sound is back. I don't know what happened, but I had to reboot.
I don't know what happened either. You
No,
have,
it was definitely at my end. It was not on your end at all.
yeah, you have weird sound issues over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You find any more out about your oil tank thing?
No, I'm going to buy myself. I looked at the construction and decided, yeah, I will buy myself a Yagi antenna. I've just got to find a place to mount it. My current antenna is a kind of a modified ground plane, and it's just on the wall of my office. So I need to find a place to mount a Yagi and put it up. And I'd like to have it with a rotator so that I can rotate the thing around and scan the neighborhood, so to speak.
Right.
I have those neighbors too.
Pardon?
I have those neighbors also.
The purpose of this is to identify where one of my 433.92 megahertz signals coming from. I've got this mystery signal that I think we discussed a couple of weeks ago about it supposedly is the ultrasonic level detector in a fuel oil tank. And I'm getting those things like mad. I mean, I'm getting them, a dozen an hour or so.
Yeah.
So
It make any sense?
makes no sense at all. I sent Leroy a copy of the log, the JSON log, and each time I get a signal, it plugs in another JSON record, and there's a lot of them, and I can't figure out where they're coming from. Certainly everybody in my development here is using gas, not using fuel oil. So I don't know, maybe some of the farmhouses that are out and about are using fuel oil. But and Leroy, I looked at the relative position of the gas station. Yeah, there we go. Relative position of the gas station relative to my house. And it sits behind a hill. Line of sight is through a hill. So I kind of doubt that it's the gas station, but in any case, there's the log.
Yeah, and it makes no sense.
And it makes no sense. It makes no sense. So
it really doesn't. I mean, your depths are almost always zero. except a couple of times, which means the tank is full, which
Yeah.
why is it sending information if the tank is full?
I don't know, maybe it's just a watchdog keep alive kind of a thing.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, but it alarms every once in a while too. If you notice, there's an alarm and the depth is, I mean, if I'm thinking about how it's working, the depth says that it's full and there's an alarm on it. So,
Well, the other thing you notice here is if you look at the ID column,
yeah,
there are a bunch of different IDs.
this,
So it's not just one, it's multiple IDs.
and even the ID numbers don't really make a whole lot of sense.
Well, I assume they're just some kind of random number that is associated with a particular tank. But I don't know. I mean, hence I'm going to buy myself a Yagi antenna, a 70 centimeter antenna that will allow me to
This,
directionalize these signals.
that one right there is the only one that shows an empty tank. If I'm thinking about how these things work, right?
Yeah, but you know what? 250 centimeters is only 10 inches. I can't believe that the difference between full and empty is only 10 inches, you know?
It's feet, right?
Pardon?
No, depth underscore cm centimeters. That's a quarter of a yard. So,
250 centimeters is about what, 10 inches or so.
yeah,
What did I do when it said feet?
I don't know.
I did something.
probably 25.4.
It's 8 foot.
Meters.
256 centimeters is 8 foot. Yeah.
Looks
Huh?
looks like 100
200.
inches, 100 inches, 100.
Well, when Google's
Now, yeah. Yeah, 258 centimeters, that's gonna divide by 2, we get approximate inches, so it'd be 100 something inches.
This is 100 inches,
So
100.
it's pretty good distance, yeah.
it's right there. It says foot. 256
100
What is that, yeah?
is 8.
centimeters.
Yeah, 2.54 centimeters per inch. So
Yeah.
that's going to be around 100 inches. So yeah,
Millimeters.
around 8 feet.
4 millimeters.
That's not millimeters, that's centimeters.
24.5 millimeters is 1 inch.
No, it was right. 256. Google's right.
Google's right, right?
No, 100 centimeters. Is the
Yeah.
meter. So that's 2.5 meters. Right.
Right. So that's 6 foot
Yeah.
ish.
Yeah.
Ish. Okay, I am not saying it's 8 foot.
I don't know if we excluded that, but yeah, you were right that time. I don't know if that proves your sanity.
So if the sensor's on the top of the tank and it's reading 256 and the tank is 8 or 9 foot deep, it means the tank's empty.
Yep, you're right.
Well, it's that many centimeters of fuel. I would have been it, but could be a water tower. Or an underground fuel tank. Yeah.
But that was one of the things that I had thought was maybe the gas station, but if the gas station's beyond the hill, it's line of sight, it may or may not get up there.
Gas stations are low, you put anything electrical in the fuel tank. They still go out with a big stick and drop it down in the hole.
The one station that I worked at had little sensors. I don't think they were. how they had, like, they were cool, flippy, switchy thingies.
Okay. Flute switches?
Yeah, like boats.
Oh, really? There.
You could tell all kinds of stuff with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we,
So is that really your office, Ray, or are you in the truck?
before they converted to the float thingy we did get out with a stick. And after they converted to the float thingy we had a little thing on the wall that said how much fuel was in the tank. So I don't know how many places still go with the stick, but
I knew the speedway on the corner by my house.
I know that we still had the stick, so if the sensor was acting funky, we could still go and do it. But
Well, that game was pretty fun.
well, my other thing is there's construction. I thought maybe there were some temporary tanks bought in, but who knows? Because it's a construction site would be using the fuel, so you should see more than just one time that it's empty.
You also wouldn't have a dozen tanks.
I don't think you would have a dozen tanks.
So at any rate, there is no apparent tank on the construction site, which is the next street over from me. So I don't know. It's a mystery. That's the reason I'm going to invest in an antenna.
He's buying an antenna just to solve we don't know what this funky data is.
Yeah. Sounds like a worthwhile project. Okay, you need two of them though. Yeah, you can have the old 6-meter radio on a transmitter on it.
If you had a mobile, you could do some readings one day and then move it around and do some more readings and move it around.
Put it on the third row and let it rotate and track the signal, yeah. Talk about a project, that'd be a good project, relatively easy to do. Just keep if you can get.
Well, the project can't be too complex because I'm only going to be here until the 17th of January. So I don't want this to become a major rocket thing.
I'd say link to some low cost antennas, but
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
I bought a Yagi for one of my antennas a few years ago. And it was, it's not bad. It's like $4, $5, $6. And it's just a little flat printed circuit board. And the mountain had a little connector on it.
he's talking about 433 megahertz, so it's
Oh, yeah.
a little bit more than.
Yeah, it's roughly the 70 centimeter band.
Yeah,
So
kind of like they're right at the edge. But yeah, I mean, those antennas that I sent you were mostly ham antennas, but they should work. I mean,
oh yeah. Well, right now I'm procrastinating, so
the mystery isn't all that important.
well, it's one of those things that kind of tickles my curiosity, but not enough for me to get off my backside and do anything about it. So,
A dipole ought to do it.
I'm sorry.
A dipole ought to do it. Dipole antenna.
Well, the Yagi is obviously more directional than a dipole, but in any case, it requires an antenna to get some directionality, and that's ultimately going to be the solution to the problem, I'm sure.
A dipole with with a couple elements in front of them and a reflect on. the
Well,
back.
that becomes basically a Yagi.
Yeah,
If you have a couple of elements in front of the dipole, that's a modified Yagi.
yeah, pretty much.
Well, we're not talking about, a big, huge anything, so.
Art, you are here.
Yep.
Yep. And the tanks are here.
Well, we don't know where the tanks are.
This is the tanks.
Oh,
Oh,
there's,
these tanks.
Yeah.
Well, that's the sewage system, which is across the,
Well,
275
maybe the sensors are the level of those tanks.
yeah.
Yeah.
You see,
oh,
here and here.
how far away is that?
Well, if you look at the bottom there, it
100
shows
feet,
you 1,000 feet.
1,000,
So that's got to be about a mile.
Yeah, 10,000 feet.
I mean, the industrial sensors probably have a little bit more power to them.
That could be. It's possible. Meaning I'm basically reading the sewage system.
There are several tanks here.
Yep.
There's
It's a possibility.
No, they're the settling tanks for the solids removal, so to speak.
6 tanks, 6 or 7 tanks. If there's 6 or 7 different ideas, then you might have stumbled onto something.
It could be. Could be.
Yeah,
65, 535, and 32.
I know. Those numbers don't make any sense.
You can check in Google Map if there are tanks somewhere else.
That's the only water treatment plant I know of in the immediate areas. The one across there, across
Is there a water tower anywhere?
there are water towers, but they're further away.
Yeah, see, I think a water tower would show usage.
Probably.
Maybe there are tanks in Siemens.
It's possible. You'd have to ask
You're bringing the gas tanks off of all the employees.
I think Steve have something to do with that.
Yes, that's it. Right at your house, your yard. That's a way.
Look, it's the same distance. The water tanks, Siemens. And Art.
there's no water tank by Siemens, I don't think. There's one north up by where 28 crosses 275.
Takers and Lou, they probably got some tanks somewhere.
Maybe here. No.
Yeah. I would guess would want to maintain some sort of level at the sewage place. But if a tank is going to overflow or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be kind of nice to know, I guess. Considering when it overflows, it goes directly into the little Miami there.
Hey, Ray, have you ever used a rotatable dipole?
Say again?
Ray, have you ever used a rotatable dipole? My neighbor had one for 10 meters. Looks pretty good. You got a pretty decent front to side ratio.
I've used some that you could switched to different antenna dipoles that were pointed different directions.
Oh,
But
yeah.
dipoles are generally so big, you're not gonna rotate them.
This is a 10 meter, it's like a CD antenna. Have you ever seen a CD, moonraker? They're not that long, they're probably 15 feet, maybe 10 feet, 15 feet. That's 10 meters. We're talking about 70 centimeters. But he used the Armstrong method to rotate it. It was just sitting outside. He had a post and he would just reach his arm out and turn it. So he got some decent directivity out of it.
Yeah, 10-meter antenna is a pretty good size.
Yeah, we're talking about 70 centimeters here, probably 3/4 wave for 70 centimeters. That's not that long.
Yeah.
Are they talking about like doing a quarter wavelength dipole on CB frequency? Is that what you're talking about?
This
'Cause
is
even that's gonna be a big dipole.
there's a band. So how long would a 70 centimeter antenna be? 3/4 wave or quarter wave would be small.
It'd be a couple of feet.
Yeah. That'd be easy to rig it. You got a coat hanger? Yeah, I think. And you can do quarter wave. And even shorter than that.
70 centimeters, full wave is 2.9 or 2.2 feet.
Yeah, 2.2 feet. Coat hanger. Or full length, yeah, you don't want full length typically, you're probably halfway, huh, Ray? You've done 40-meter dipoles, haven't you? Yeah. Put that,
Well, I think the simplest solution is for me just to buy the 70 centimeter Yagi and mount it on a pole someplace in the back of my lot. With a small rotator. Assuming that I don't tweak the HOA here.
Do you need to rotate it?
Well, I'm looking for a signal source, so I need directionality.
do you have
After you
signal?
find that signal source, do you need to rotate it?
I'm sorry.
I really do.
Once you've identified where it needs to be pointed, do you need to continue rotating it?
No, basically, I just need to find where it is.
So I mean, like a lot of people, they'll buy a power rotator, antenna rotator, and they get it up to one position. They got it there, and what ends up happening is the rotor breaks, and they don't care because they've already got it pointed where they want.
Yeah,
So, I mean, if you're okay and you know what direction that it's gonna be, I mean, you could put it in a tree. You could actually put it inside your attic if you don't have a metal roof. Go through your roof.
yeah, I had one of those when I was in New Jersey. It's a good idea. I will just find one that's relatively inexpensive. Amazon has them. You can buy a 70 centimeter Yagi from Amazon and I'll just stick it up in my attic. You're right.
Do you have a signal strength?
Pardon?
Do you have a signal strength?
Depending on how I set up the RTL_433, I can grab the signal strength. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, basically all of these signals I'm picking up just using that RTL underscore 433 software that's available on GitHub. Periodically, I rebuild it with the latest release. And each time I rebuild it, there's some new signals show up because, you know, for example, someplace in my neighborhood, somebody has a lot of roller blinds, the kind that, well, the old ones you just pulled down and, you know, they were spring loaded, but they now have them that have a built-in little motor that'll rotate the blind, drop it down and raise it up and so forth. And I got somebody in my neighborhood who's got a bunch of those, and I get the signal from them, and I can identify the signals, but without the directional antenna, I don't know where they are.
I would have to get a transmitter.
Yeah, I could get in all kinds of trouble with a transmitter. Raise and lower somebody's blinds.
Set up a cron tab so that happens every night about 3:15.
Put it right at their house.
Just right there. All of them.
All of it. Every house in the neighborhood.
Well, the other thing you can do is get the frequency. Some are not 433 of the garage doors, and make the garage doors go up and down through the middle of the night. Yeah, Vicente, I see. That's the link I was talking about. That's a pretty powerful tool, actually. And it's well supported. The code of the level sensor is, I don't know, do you have the print out there, Leroy? You can bring up on the screen?
Hang on. I think I can.
You did a little while ago.
Yeah, but I wasn't sure if I closed it or not.
Oh,
There you go.
yep. And it's the
Yeah. Is that,
oil-sonic standard, STD.
yeah, most of the IDs are 65,000 something.
Yeah. Well, the 65535 is one of the more common ones, but there's a bunch others in there. I went through and sorted them out one day, and I think there's about 7 or 8, maybe 9 different ones.
Right, there's an odd one too. It's 32,768.
Yeah.
It shows up quite a few. Well, Sante might be right. I mean, if there's 7 or 8, because I think there were 7 or 8 tanks.
Could be I'm measuring the sewer. Yeah.
Those sensors should be able to do any liquid, really.
One would think.
I googled oil standard, oil sonic standard. I found 2 sensors, and both of them looked like they were being used in Europe.
Yeah.
But
Yep. But I also, when I look at, when I get the TPMS, the tire pressure monitoring system signals, a lot of those are various European brands.
So probably on various European cars. Driving.
Actually, I think the European TPMSs are used on many of the American cars also. But we have a fair number of European cars in the neighborhood here.
Yeah,
There's a Citroen and what's the other one? One's a Schaefer or something like that. And those are apparently widely used in a variety of different cars. Apparently the automobile makers don't manufacture their own. They just use one of the standard ones. At any rate, it's very interesting. I originally set this thing up just to monitor all my little IoT devices in the house here. And of course, the thing I wasn't thinking about is that these signals don't stop at my lot line. And so I was getting all these other things that I couldn't figure out what they were about, but
it's around your house to keep all the Fi out. Yeah, that's need a Faraday cage. Put your house in a Faraday.
yeah. I'll tell you, last night, the electrical storm that was going on here, you really needed a Faraday cage. I think it took out one of my switches, actually.
Yep. You got a new Ray. We don't want to exclude Ray from telling you about all his adventures.
And he's in town.
And he's in town.
I'm leaving in the morning, early in the morning.
Where are you off to?
It's just 2 stops in like up by Akron, Ohio, and then coming right back home.
Day trip or couple day trip.
Yeah, I'll be at a customer all day Thursday and then at a nearby customer all day Friday. Come back to work on Saturday, Sunday, go somewhere else on Monday. So I've been in town for a couple days. Actually, I had to run down to Knoxville, Tennessee on Sunday. Then I had to go somewhere else on Monday. But now I've been spending most of my time down at the med clinic, just making sure the credit card reader is working, making sure computers are working, just getting everything, making sure the printers are all accessible, fax machines working, stuff like that. My next big hurdle to get through is network shared space on the server, file space. I need to do an email server of some kind, and I only have about 20 accounts that need to be set up, and at least for now. But then I need to set up a website, but the website's a little bit more complicated because it has to have PHP support, MySQL support, and oh, what else was it? Curl. So the basic web server I know that we got going, making sure it's PHP compliant, that's probably just a formality. And this MySQL for the database. Then we just drop in some files, let it build itself, and then we just start modifying. Yeah, I know. I make it sound so easy, don't I?
Send me your list.
Oh, I'm working on it. Yeah, it's not so bad, really. But, anyway, I've been at least trying to figure out what I need, what I want. That way we can get in there, not just like, hey, let's build something, you know. But I'm trying to get a lot of my other little projects tuned out, tuned away, and focus on some things, some more important stuff. That's it for me.
I played Minecraft with the grandkid.
So who's winning these days?
Well, of course she wins because, you know, she has to. She does not take losing well, actually. We were playing some game. Oh, it was a math problem. We were doing some math problems and she got the answer just like that, just real quick. And then she looked at me and she goes, "Did you get that yet, Papa?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "No, you didn't. I got it first. I'm the winner."
Wait a couple of years and she really will be.
Yeah. She loves that stuff. She's been, you know, she's been helping me build robots and stuff since she was about 3. So, you know, you talk about your grandkid being scared of a soldering iron. She never was, but I would never let her play with it at 3 years old. So.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh," I was like, "That's hot. Don't touch it." Okay. She built Pepsi the robot. She named it Pepsi. I don't know why, but she did. It's just a little 2-wheel robot that.
With a can body.
No, it's a 2-wheel robot that. It's kind of like one of those robots, you know, just 2 wheels with an Arduino on it. And I said, "What do you want to name it?" And she goes, "This looks like a Pepsi." That was the name. Pepsi the robot. But now we're into playing video games and going to school. She really likes school. That's it. That's all I know. I don't know anything else. Anybody?
My SD card issue, my full power camera is only rated down to 31 degrees. So that could be an issue. The camera itself. They say the SD chips are typically rated down to -13 degrees out.
So what happens to them at that point?
They never forget.
Say again?
They never forget. Sometimes you gotta write zeros and you can't. So normally the folder is half. Yeah, this is a 4X optical zoom outdoor camera. Rated down to 30 degrees out. I noticed some of them go pretty high. So. You should remember that. But it's cheap. Actually, that could
be relatively easy to put in heater on it. I mean, keeping it above freezing isn't particularly difficult.
it's feeding my, surveillance computer, which is recording in England. It's just handy, it has audio with it, it's ridiculous. But I've got out there looking at the same thing that I've been.
Is it solar, battery, and plugged in?
It's,
Give me heater on.
yeah. Damn. But it'd be good to find out what it is, and that's really good. I get some data on that, if it's if it follows the SD card, if it follows the camera, if it's indoor or if it's outdoor. So I can rotate into and get that, figure out what it is. Figure out if it's a demo that I see.
Eating it would also help you the moisture.
And this one's pretty well protected, it's up under the porch, so it's a little bit better in the
Are you families just taking a picture every once in a while, or is it constantly taking?
The thorax is running at about 5 frames per second. Not fast.
Where's it putting the data? If it's buffering the SD card and reading and writing all the time.
Yeah, it's writing all the time.
Cards all day.
It does buffer it, but the camera buffers it anyway. Really,
Yeah.
you get up to 15 frames per second, and you'll notice it's at 15 frames per second. You'll notice a delay of half a second or a second.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, you got transmission time. This particular one happens to be RJ45. But you're still seeing a delay. The fact that you can put it on the SD card means you're buffering it, but you can't do it on SD
You
card.
need to have the SD card and just remove it.
Yeah. That
Seems like that would solve the problem.
yeah, but it's not a problem, except it doesn't write to the SD card. It writes to the computer, so it doesn't always never have a problem with that, but it doesn't write, they just shot right into the SD card. Figure out anything. I've got some more data and let you guys know what I find out, if it follows the camera, if it only happens on outdoor cameras. If it follows the SD card, then okay, so it's on the SD card, we can figure out what it is, I just started having data yesterday.
We were using the Samsung high endurance cards. Never had any issues with those. Those seem to be pretty solid little cards. They were not fast. But I don't think we ever had a correct SD card. Horizon card.
They just stopped writing to them, is what happens. And really the only thing you can do at that point is the note is really formatted. I could fill that. Probably another thing I could fill that and see if it's correct.
Hey, Jim, what kind of space, how much space do you need on the SD card?
Right now I'm down to a 64 gig. I'm generally use 64 gigs. I had 128 in there. And it's either 128 or 64. But yeah, I've reduced I've had success in reducing the size of them before, if I have trouble with them.
So using a 16 or a 32 gig, is that just too small?
32 gig is probably fine. The really is, it's not a big issue. It's just how many days of data do I have, and how often do I need that many days of data, which is rare. And then I'm going to a computer with a terabyte drive on it, so it's kind of like I would like to do it kind of entertaining me, finding out what's going on, trying to figure out what's going on.
I have a stack of SanDisk class 10 SD micro SD cards or new chips. I bought them from Walmart on Black Friday a couple years ago. They were a very good price. I immediately put them in my safe, and I use them from time to time on phones, GPS in my car, stuff like that. And I use them in my cameras. I found that, you know, for a camera, if you take photos at the wedding and you go home and there's no photos on the SD card, there's gonna be some really mad people, angry people. So data integrity was more important to me than having, you know, days worth of video and photos. I just needed, you know, 3 hours worth of video and photos. And these class 10 are high speed memory, and you know, the integrity of holding the images has been really, really good.
Yeah, I don't buy anything less than class 10. Everything I buy is class 10. Absolutely.
Well, there was some stuff at Walmart recently. It was SanDisk class 10.
Right.
It was fair price. It wasn't like amazing, but it was fair price. 64 gig for $9 or $10.
Yeah.
I think Micro Center was giving away memory. Hell, they were giving away hard drives. So.
Yeah.
Ugh. Are we all about done? It's almost 7 o'clock.
It is almost 7 o'clock. Where you going? Come.
So the little folio in the battery.
Oh,
Got the size of the Garland. Fire.
no, it's for,
That's a lot to do on soccer.
yeah. So we were talking, I leave those things on forever. I'm like one of the.
Really cool.
With the tag on it. I leave those things on forever, especially the screens. If it gets scratched, it doesn't scratch the screen, it scratches the plastic. But I've had that thing for a long time, 10, 15 years. Oh, yeah. It's an ebook reader, full color LCD screen, which is horrible. It only reads EPUBs, the original Mobi specs, and PDFs. But why I bought it was because last week me and Jim were talking about Kindles being able to read the text. That will read text. It does text to speech, but it's got like weird limitations like
I turned it on and turned back off.
the battery's probably. But it's got like weird limitations, like it only appears to read one page.
Mm-hmm.
It won't flip the page and read the next page, so you got to start it over again. It's only got one voice, and it's the most robotic voice ever, but you know, it's 10 or 15 years old, so it's just one of those things that when he said his Kindle could do text to speech, I was like, pretty sure I've got an ebook reader that can do text to speech.
One of the Fire is supposed to do it. It's the cheap ones.
All right,
I've got good looking for the cheap ones. Got raised screen, bro.